Soo Hyun finally made her voice heard after weeks of being at the center of a major issue. After his much-awaited press appearance, which was supposed to diffuse the situation, fans were more divided than before. What started off as a straightforward apology turned into an emotional roller coaster complete with shocking revelations, questionable omissions, and an unexpectedly abrupt shift in tone. As soon as Soo Hyun walked into the room, you could feel the tension. There was no longer the bright, outgoing actor we typically see on screen. A man who was clearly exhausted took his place. He had a rigid stance, dark circles under his eyes, and an attitude that suggested sleepless nights. You could hear everything, despite the large number of reporters around. No one had the courage to speak first. Everyone was curious to know how he would respond to the rumors that had been going around for weeks. Everyone in the room was chilled by his introductory remarks when he finally spoke. "First of all, I want to apologize," he said in an emotionally laden opening statement. "Many people are suffering because of me, and it breaks my heart to know that the deceased cannot rest in peace." From this first sentence, something didn't feel entirely right. He didn't say what he was sorry about, as you can see. Did he feel bad about his actions? For keeping secrets? Or just apologetic for offending others? The ambiguity was too great to ignore. Another interesting aspect was the way he referred to Kim Se-ron. Not by name, though, but as the deceased. Some saw this as a show of deference, while others thought he was trying to project an air of impersonality. This careful, meticulous word choice, which revealed as much as it concealed, would be repeated repeatedly during the press conference. The moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived when he confirmed their relationship. His voice hardly lifted above a whisper. "I did not date the deceased when she was underage," he said. "We were in a normal relationship. After getting to know each other and falling in love, we finally parted ways. The primary problem, which was the rumors that he was seeing a minor, seemed to be resolved at first. However, if you listen more closely, you'll notice what he omitted. No specific dates, no timetable. Neither the length of their relationship nor its end were explained. Only that it was like any other relationship. A rather patronizing remark, given the circumstances. The internet was ablaze with reactions. Some admirers genuinely believed him, pointing to his sincere delivery as proof. Not convinced, some cited Soo Hyun as one of Korea's most talented performers, and said he would be the most likely to deliver a convincing performance. This disparity in popular opinion will only get wider as the press conference continued. He openly responded, "I was always focused on protecting what I had built," when asked why he had concealed the connection for so long. "I feared losing things or being harmed. I consequently rushed around and denied things for an extended period of time." In other words, he lied to maintain his employment. He admitted that he feared losing his reputation, his endorsements, and his carefully cultivated public image. While some viewed this as refreshingly honest, others described it as selfish, noting out that his silence hurt Kim Se-ron as well as himself. And then the tears began to flow. Halfway through Soo Hyun's statement, his voice broke. His eyes filled with tears, which he forced aside, but not before the cameras recorded every moment. It was raw and passionate, but was it real? Social media was split at once. Some viewers were moved by his seeming sorrow, but others questioned whether this was just another performance by an actor known for his ability to cry when the time was right. The timing seemed too perfect, and the emotional beats were too carefully placed. Just as the news conference seemed to be drawing to a close, Soo Hyun dropped a bombshell that drastically changed the direction of the event. His tone shifted significantly when he announced that he would sue anybody spreading false information about him and his relationship. The weak, sobbing man vanished abruptly, to be replaced by a strong, determined individual. This dramatic contrast wasn't an accident. It was a conscious decision. His first act of vulnerability was an effort to gain favor. Then he showed power to get back in control. Think of it as a master class on crisis management. The most concerning thing, though, is that throughout the whole press conference, Kim Soo Hyun barely mentioned the potential that his actions affected Kim Se-ron. Although he spoke extensively about his job, personal hardship, and fears, he rarely brought up the woman at the center of the controversy. Viewers and the media were aware of this glaring omission. Despite the fact that Korean news channels reported the event extensively, perspectives differed. Some pointed out the inconsistencies in his story, while others praised his openness. One extremely critical comment said, "This wasn't an apology. It was a carefully staged attempt at damage control." Public opinion polarization showed how complicated this subject had become. So, what are we left with here? This scandal has undoubtedly affected Kim Soo Hyun, despite the fact that she remains one of Korea's most well-known superstars. The entertainment industry will be closely observing public response in the following weeks. Will fans forgive and forget? Or has this incident permanently changed how people view one of Korea's most beloved celebrities? This news conference undoubtedly raised more questions than it answered. The story is clearly far from ended, as evidenced by the well-chosen language, the moving situations, and the sudden turn to violence. When the dust settles, new information will undoubtedly come to light, and public opinion may shift again. What were your thoughts on Kim Soo Hyun's press conference? Were his tears genuine, or was this all a manufactured performance? Perhaps none of us fully understands the complexity of the truth. Undoubtedly, this problem is far from being resolved. Keep an eye out for the next installment of this story, which might be even more unexpected than the ones we've seen thus far. Remember to check back for updates as this matter progresses. If you thought that this news conference was enlightening, look forward to the next few days to see how the public and industry respond. This is by no means over.